The anything-goes attitude that characterized the explosion of art out of conventional forms in the 1960s and 70s has now become the form or code of style and fashion. People have less expectation of traditional dress, though in the most conservative echelons of banking, financing, and government, there remains the expectation for people to dress in business suits, white shirts and ties. This is the custom of the power elite. This is how they play their artistic role and how they recognize each other. The larger masses are maintained and fed by mass media. They live by the mass media. Their minds are formed by the mass media. Their knowledge is derived from the mass media. Basically through television, radio, and now increasingly through the computer, almost everybody has access to the internet, the radio, DVDs, video games, digital cameras. Everybody can take as many pictures as they want, and people take pictures everywhere all the time. They even take pictures on their cell phone. The access of technological tools for forms of artistic expression has been democratized to the masses, so everybody can be an artist to some degree or another. It is interesting how this process has come about. The generation of art as film, for instance, was still being evolved in the 1930s through the 1960s, with basically an artistic perception and motivation. However, as the 1970s approached, and through today, the film industry proliferated massively and quality drastically decreased, with a greater reliance on violence and sexuality to sell the film as video. This carried over into the 1980s up to the present. The 1980s introduced the video game, an interactive form of television and movie. In most video games, you assume a character and interact with virtual beings and imagery while navigating through a pre-made story plot. When you get to the internet and computers, the access of creating new genres get expanded even more. Many of the numerous web pages create a great amount of virtual artistic creativeness. In websites like MySpace, ordinary people can create artistically designed statements about themselves, so that the means of expressions through technology and mass media become greatly democratized, augmenting the development of cyber art, video games, and so on. The need for expression carries over into the physical with the democratization of body art, piercing, tattoos, artistic fashion styles, and forms. This body art subculture that emerged in the 1990s has now spread into the mainstream. Now bank clerks have tattoos, and waitresses have their tongues pierced. The closer we get to the end of the historical cycle, the greater the urge for the individual to express him or herself and make themselves into their own work of art. The degree to which this is conscious is questionable. However, the need to express is obvious and is permeating the culture like never before. In the 1980s, it was rare for men to wear earrings, but now it is commonplace. The same goes with lip, tongue, and nipple piercings. In the 1980s and early 1990s, getting a tattoo was an expression of your separation from mainstream society, but now increasing numbers of people in the mainstream sport tattoos. These are examples of how body art becomes integrated into society, though society is still grinding these people up, economically and physically, producing increasing creative tension. We see this in the development of cyber art through the internet and virtual communities, where the individual has the greatest possibility of expressing him or herself and making some type of statement, no matter how conscious or unconscious that might be, and then making it available for all to view. All of this is in accord with a type of cosmic plan that includes the sorting out of different souls. You can go in and find categories of every type of group, every type of person, every type of taste, every type of experience. Everyone projects according to their own karmic disposition, making their own cosmic statement of who they are in their karmic expression. All of this is part of the grand unfolding of the cosmic plan. The Quran says that on the day of resurrection, everybody will be wearing their record around their neck. Now everyone has their record on their computer screen. Everyone is making their record public. However, This is all part of the cosmic plan. In one way or another, everyone is becoming his or her own statement, his or her own public record. This process has all but exhausted itself. Once everyone has been able to proclaim and express who they are, then the final turning over of earlier forms of being and consciousness will be completed. All the transfers of beings from other parallel worlds and planets who were supposed to be here to help the process of the acceleration of cosmic consciousness are already here. All of this is laying the stage for the emergence of genuine cosmoplanetary awareness. Planet art is the perception of the human as a single planetary organism that extrudes art or evolves a common self-perception as a work of art organized through different intrinsically aesthetic perceptions. But before it can fully reach this state, it must go through the stage of maximum divergence of individualism and individualistic forms of expression. For example, people communicate with each other, but the main emphasis, exceptions included, is on me or being me. This too is part of the cosmic unfolding. But the question is, how many people who are being me realize that they are also not me? This is the test. At some point, people will see that everyone is an equal illusion, and there is really no me, and or they are all me and none of them is me. This is the next stage, the disillusionment of being me. In this process, there is first an experience of the shallowness of presenting the illusion of themselves to themselves. This results in an anarchic nihilism expressed in current pop magazines. For example, we have been informed that the current trend or attitude in the London underground nightclub scene seems to be a certain nihilism. It has all been done before, but this is necessary to advance to the next stage. In this disillusionment comes the opportunity to realize that the cosmic plan is reordering reality in a much different way than previously known. When artists create together with a genuine cosmoplanetary perspective, then we will see a radically exciting new collective art whole evolve. It is important to stress that everything that exists now, how people are expressing themselves, etc., is all a necessary manifestation of a process of cosmoplanetary morphogenesis, of the evolution and devolution of forms, and the reconstruction or resurrection of forms. This is the grand story we are communicating through Volume 3.